Tim Freitas here from the Garden of English. Here's a struggle that most of my students face, and they don't even know it. They get to writing and they want to look all sophisticated and fancy because, well, who wouldn't? And they begin to throw in some advanced punctuation like dashes, colons, and semicolons. But the real problem is that when most students start trying to use advanced punctuation, they do it all wrong.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
And just look
stupid.
And because I don't want you to look stupid, I'm going to start making some videos that will teach you how to use advanced punctuation the right way. We're going to start with how to use the semicolon because it's the piece of punctuation you can use the most. So in order to know how to actually use punctuation correctly, you need to think about your thinking and know a little bit of grammar. I'm not going to get into all the grammatical weeds here. Otherwise, you'd be snoring in no time. But here, I'm going to hit you with the basics. The reason why you want to know grammar to do this is because understanding it will allow you to develop mature and complex thought in your writing. To start this off, I want to point out that you probably like to connect ideas when you talk. If you didn't, you'd always sound like a robot.
Beep, beep, boop, bop, beep, beep, boop, beep.
And with all of this AI nonsense coming around the bend, you know you don't want that.
I want to break free.
You want to be free. So, whether you know it or not, what you normally do when you speak or write sentences is connect your ideas with conjunctions and punctuation. When you do this, you relate ideas in one of two ways: coordination and subordination. When you coordinate ideas, you show that your ideas are of equal value. When you subordinate ideas, you show that your ideas are unequal. You want both shared, but one is more important than the other. The most common way that anyone coordinates ideas is by using coordinating conjunctions. So what a person does is connect complete ideas with words like for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Those are all of the coordinating conjunctions that exist. It's important for you to know those so you can know how to use a semicolon. So let's pretend that I had sentences like these. The Garden of English is the best place on YouTube to get English help. Coach Hall Writes is another awesome place to get AP Lang help. If I were to write these sentences together to create a compound sentence, I'd write it like this. The Garden of English is the best place on YouTube to get English help, but Coach Hall Writes is another incredible place to get AP Lang help. I just need you to notice what I did to combine my sentences. When I wanted a pause between the ideas, I added a comma. And I wanted to connect the second sentence with the first by showing that there is a contrast between the ideas and that each idea holds equal weight. I did that by adding the word but. Thus, though the Garden of English is the best place to get English help, I wanted you to know that you can trust Beth over at Coach Hall Writes equally. So the comma creates a pause and the word but indicates the contrast. Okay, so we got the groundwork out of the way. Now we're going to make the semicolon simple.
That's a fact.
The reason why you would want to use a semicolon is because you want to have two complete and equal ideas put in the same sentence. And you'd like a pause as you connect the ideas. But you also want to imply the relationship between the ideas rather than using a conjunction to clearly spell it out. So here is how the sentence would look if I used a semicolon instead of the comma and coordinating conjunction. The Garden of English is the best place on YouTube to get English help. Coach Hall Writes is another incredible place to get AP Lang help. You see, the semicolon acts just like how it looks. It's like a comma and a period put together. I want the pause of a comma, but I don't have a conjunction to go after it. So I can't just put a comma there. That's called a comma splice. Well, we don't want that.
Not today, Satan.
But if you were to look at that sentence and notice that if I took the semicolon out of it and I put a period right in there without doing anything else, the two sentences would still make sense as their own complete sentences. But the relationship I'm intending to create between the ideas of each sentence would still be clear, and so because it's implied, I could put a semicolon there. This type of punctuation is sophisticated because it relies on implying the relationships without just spelling things out. But because the ideas are so clear, the relationship is always clear to the reader. And that's how you use a semicolon in a nutshell. You use a semicolon to connect two complete sentences that are related. That's what you need to know. You can choose to use a comma and a conjunction, but if you'd like to imply the relationship because your writing is so clear, just use a semicolon without the conjunction. Now, one last advanced move with the semicolon. You can connect sentences with a semicolon and a conjunctive adverb. Conjunctive adverbs are just words like however, consequently, accordingly, and thus. There are a few more, but we're not going to go there right now. The semicolon still functions the same way in this type of a sentence, but the adverb articulates the relationship you're looking to establish. It just helps establish a better line of reasoning. Let me give you an example of what this would look like. Check out this sentence. The Garden of English and Coach Hall Writes are the best places on YouTube to get English help. However, my friends Steve Heimler, Tom Ritchie, Emily Glankler, and Emily Poole are the go-tos for history content. In that last sentence, I could have easily put a period where the semicolon is, and then I could have just capitalized the H in however. But I wanted to make a deliciously compound sentence where all of the ideas were complexly intertwined and related. And of course, the ideas that relate both sides together are that there are some really good content creators on YouTube, and these folks are quality teachers and super friendly people. So you should probably support them. Now, what is it that you need to remember if you're going to use the semicolon correctly? You need 2 complete sentences on both sides of the semicolon. You need to want these ideas to have equal value as you express them. Your 2 complete sentences need to relate in some way, and the semicolon will imply that relationship. And there you have it. The best way to practice using semicolons correctly is to write sentences using commas and coordinating conjunctions. Then take out the comma and coordinating conjunction and just put a semicolon in. If the relationship between both sides is clearly implied, you're good. If you want more sophisticated writing advice, make sure to check out what's about to pop up on your screen as well.